hold on tight. The champ is here. Mikey is raising the roof. He is loving it.
Let's be real for a second.
Let's be real. I'm excited to be real today. Mikey, now explain yourself.
I don't hate Russell Wilson.
Todd hates T.Y. Hilton. I know why he likes Nick Foles. Do you know why? Because he scored 55 points against them in the championship game last year.
Running backs in Andy Reid's system is just fantasy gold mine. Sign me up there, man.
Yeah, and he's passing for 1,000 too, because his offensive weapons are shit.
Maybe. Oh my God. I can't even believe this, Eric. Todd comes out with some outlandish shit.
Come on.
But that one wins the night.
You deserve the torture of watching those games if you get him.
There's a problem with all those names. None of those guys are good.
Exactly. That's my point. That is 100% my point.
Hey. All I'm saying. Hey, I'm a very unique individual. You know, that's the.
I'm sure all the owners think so.
Oh, man. Just when I think that they're out, they pull me back in.
Oh, man, it feels so good to win again. Thought it was never going to happen. You're listening to the MHA podcast. Eric Lansing, Todd Diamond, and Mikey Renault. Looking back on week 9. Hey, guys, I won.
Yeah.
Hey, are you guys happy for me?
I am.
I'm happy for Mikey. Mikey won again.
Yeah, we're all winners except for Todd.
Yeah.
Oh, Todd.
Big ol' L here.
Oh, man, I wonder why that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, we'll talk about it for sure. So what's coming up on today's show? We'll get into some news. We'll tell you who stepped up in week 9 and who pooped their pants this past weekend. And, of course, some MHA trivia. Mikey's got to get a little redemption. He lost to Todd last time. Can't let that happen again.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the news.
To me, the most amazing thing about the news is that whatever goes on in the world, it exactly fits the number of pages that they're using in the paper that day. Interesting concept.
So while I was super thrilled about winning this week, big part thanks to Christian McCaffrey, guess who's hurt again? Hooray, Christian McCaffrey. Dealing with a shoulder injury. He's listed as day-to-day. That's better than the early prognosis of him missing a few weeks. Hoping he plays this week. Just glad to see he's dealing with a shoulder injury that suffered late in the game. He actually tried to come back, and then he came back out. Matt Stafford left his game early after getting smashed in a sack. Lucky for me, since I was playing him and couldn't accumulate any garbage points. Seems like he'll be back next week. David Montgomery suffered a possible concussion, so we'll have to keep an eye on him as we go into next week. To Todd's dismay, David Johnson left his game early with a concussion. How about the Buccaneers? This is just a news note. Buccaneers set an NFL record for fewest rushing attempts in NFL history. Just 4 rushing attempts in a game. That's
Jesus,
isn't it, gentlemen?
Yeah, I know it's a passing league, but that's only 4. Yeah,
you know what's interesting about that stat, Todd?
What's that?
They only rushed 4 times. You have the quarterback, which means they probably threw more. And Tom Brady still didn't have a good day.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Continuing on, Cowboys named Andy Dalton the starter in their upcoming game. They have a bye this week, but just keep an eye on that. Garrett Gilbert was just 1 play away from leaving Dallas to the upset of Pittsburgh, so that might be a little muddled situation there in Dallas. As the Amari Cooper owner, I'm hoping Andy Dalton is back. Big Ben is on the reserve COVID-19 list. He and 3 other Steelers will have to quarantine for the next 5 days, and if they're negative, they can play on Sunday. Board bet update from the Buccaneers pass catchers. Remember when we talked about this last week? And I think Todd had Chris Godwin. Who'd you have, Mikey? Was it Brown or Gronk?
I think I had Gronk.
Yeah, I think you had Gronk too. And I had Mike Evans. And Chris Godwin, how many points did he have, Todd, since he's your boy?
5 points.
5 points. How about Gronk? How many points did Gronk have?
1.
1 point. Wow, this board bet is off to a tremendous start. And Mike Evans, 7 points. So Eric in the lead after 1 week. Tampa Bay was terrible this weekend, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't play that game. That was gross.
All right. So any other news that I missed, guys, before I get into the MHA standings?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think I got most of these important stuff. If anything pops in your head, let me know. MHA standings time. In the matchup of the week, then 5-3 Line Rip. He would defeat 6-2 Gonzo Cats, 146-113. Of course, that combo of Russell Wilson, Devontae Adams, and DK Metcalf. Something to deal with for sure. Line Rip moves on. They actually move up into second place, while the Gonzo Cats are now in third place. Cooper's cousin remains in the top spot after spanking the Belt Sanders 153-94. Dalvin Cook is good from what I understand. He keeps destroying opposing defenses and MHA owners. And outside of Patrick Mahomes and his 68 points, Allen's squad didn't do too much. Cooper Cousins still at the top at 7-2. The Lemonheads led this week in scoring, piling up 173 points to earn the victory over notorious CUP. Along with McCaffrey's big day, Josh Allen had his best performance for Eric's squad, recording 72 points. Finally, that trade is paying off. Lemonheads now at 4-5. CUP drops to 5-4. Big win. Also getting a very important win is the Hot Tamales. Drew Brees looked like the Drew Brees of old, racking up 56 points to pull off the low-scoring W, 119-91 over Kilgore Trout. Mikey's team's back in it at 4-5. Joe's squad struggling at 3-6. Give me a quick note about your win, Mikey.
I liked how you put that. The Drew Brees of old instead of the old Drew Brees.
Yeah, I formulated it that way. I know how to use words a little bit.
No, I mean it was a huge win, and I didn't come into the week. Yeah, I mean I didn't come into the week very optimistic given the lineup that I had to kind of piece together. But yeah, I mean I did the best that I could throughout the week to put together a mix of whatever you call it, and came out with a season-saving win. So
what Mikey
very happy
was turning it from chicken shit to chicken salad.
That's right. That's exactly what happened.
Good job there, Miguel. Now we'll talk about Todd's team. Tom Brady's usual second half downfall began in week 9, as the veteran QB could only find his way to 24 points, thus pulling the Butterfingers down with him in the 102-88 win for Eaton W's. Kevin's squad got some help from Julio Jones and Alvin Kamara, his usual guys. Butterfingers at 4-5, and Eaton W's at 5-4, who have now won three in a row. Todd, how are you feeling at 4-5 now?
Well, that game on Sunday, I mean, when Gronk dropped that touchdown, that potential touchdown pass in the end zone, I was like, yeah, this game is, the Bucs are just, this game just got awful. The concussion didn't help with David Johnson going down. DJ Dallas, 11 points, can't, a touchdown, can't be mad at that. Just bad overall. I mean, like I said, on Monday night, I was just Joe Flacco got more points than Tom Brady. It just tells you you're in the twilight zone. So it was just a bad week for my team, plain and simple. It's got to move on. It's got to move on. I mean, I know I'm knocked down to 9th, but I'm not out of it yet.
Are you moving on with Tom Brady next weekend?
They play the Panthers, so I do kind of like that matchup a little bit more. So yeah, I'm still sticking with Tom Brady. Because I mean, Phillip Rivers didn't have a great game either. I mean, he scored 32 points. I mean, that wouldn't have I guess it would have got me over. It would have got me over the hump. But no, I'm still sticking with Tom Brady. That offense is still evil, and the fact that now the Bucs have to keep playing on and on now because now they've lost the tiebreaker to the Saints, so the Bucs have to keep playing. So I'm still sticking with Tom Brady.
Should he, Mikey?
Yeah, what choice does he have? He traded Joe and Kevin. So, I mean, what option does he have? He's going down with the ship.
Yeah, just like he did last year. Continuing on, how about bye week? Pulling off the big upset over NWA and getting his second win of the season. Scored a very good 147 points while sneaking out a 4-point win over G's team. Got a great start with Aaron Rodgers and his 61 points on Thursday night and had a combined 42 points from his wide receivers Tyreek Hill and Will Fuller. Here are the standings, since I didn't really go over the records, but here they go. Cooper's Cousins in first place, Lion Rip in second, Gonzo Cats at third, NWA at fourth, Eaton W's at fifth, Notorious CUP in sixth, Lemonheads at seventh, Hot Tamales right behind me at 8th. Butterfingers in 9th. Belt Sanders in 10th. Kilgore Trout and Bye Week in 11th and 12th place, respectively. Anything you guys want to say about the standings?
I mean, we all flip flop. We were us three are still 7, 8, 9. So you know, you kind of flip flop, but we're still in it.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9, just all within a game. So much can change within a week. It's all really close. So, I mean, this is a big week for all 6 of those teams involved. Some can either fall low, others can be feeling better after next week and being back to 500. So, yeah, this is a very, very big week.
No doubt. It's going to be fun. We'll talk about the upcoming schedules later on in the show. Let's talk about some top performers. All right. Todd, we'll let you go first, and it wasn't Tom Brady, was it?
No, it was not Tom
I'm
Brady.
keep pressing you on it the whole show.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, that's fine. Hey, it makes for a good podcast, so I welcome it. Okay, so one of the top performers, I'll go with one of Mikey's at Jerry Jeudy. 19 points, 7 yards, 7 receptions, 125 yards, and 1 touchdown. So, we talked about it earlier in the podcast, the preview podcast that, Jerry Jeudy, this was one of the breakout games that you were expecting from Jerry Jeudy. So good on you on that one, Mikey, for, sticking with Jerry Jeudy because, it kind of a little bit toward the beginning of the season, kind of had flashes, but there was other games where he just, you're still kind of hitting that rookie wall a little bit. So good on you on that one.
I can't even take the credit on that because I had no other option but to play him. So
he had no choice.
It wasn't a real big decision by me. It just turned out really well.
But like you said, that they're playing the Falcons, so Falcons are kind of, their defense isn't that great, and Jerry Jeudy, balled out. So good on you on that one.
For Jeudy, he has 24 targets, 11 receptions, 198 yards, and a touchdown in his last 2 games. And he has the Raiders, who gave up a lot of passing yards. Mikey, give me a top performer from Week 9.
I'm going to go right back to Dalvin Cook. He was huge last week, huge again this week. This is a guy, he has 81 points in his last 2 weeks from a running back.
That's quarterback numbers.
Yeah. So, he put up another, 36 points and, just over 200 yards rushing, another couple touchdowns. He is carrying, Cooper's Cousins team. I mean, it's where, one of his other top players, Adam Thielen, I think had 3 points. And it doesn't even matter because of how well Cook was playing. So, yeah. Dalvin Cook.
He's a beast.
Yeah,
he is a man beast.
Probably running back MVP for fantasy, so probably right now.
He's probably in the mix. Kamara also has had a fantastic season.
Because they're 1 and 2 in our league, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Cook
Yeah,
and Kamara,
in terms of
so.
points, yes. So, yeah, Dalvin Cook, no question there. One guy that I'll mention is Will Fuller. Yeah, my boy Will Fuller.
I was going to say.
6th straight game with a touchdown. He ranks 16th amongst our wide receiver point scoring system. He's had double figures in every week except the one in week 2 against Baltimore where he got hurt and had to leave early. But Mikey, on board? I know I've asked you this a couple times this year, but are you on board the Will Fuller train now? Choo-choo. Will Fuller. Will Fuller.
He's been all right.
Come on, Mikey, there's some room in the front.
But I don't know. We'll see. There's still another half a season to go. So he's 18, 16 now. We'll see what. I'm just saying. Let's see where he finishes.
Such a hater. Todd, do you have another one?
Yeah, I mean, and this one's not a shocker. This is kind of just seems like every single week. But Travis Kelce, obviously was on the losing end, but Travis Kelce just seems. I mean, obviously Kittle being hurt, but Kelce just keeps separating himself from everybody else. I mean, every single week it's almost automatic for him. So 17 points, 10 receptions, 159 yards receiving. No touchdown, but still. that like I said, just like with Darren Waller for you, Eric, is the fact you just put him in and he'll at least get you double-digit points. But Travis Kelce's separating himself. There's nobody really even. There'll be a tight end will have one good week, but Travis Kelce will just have consistent weeks all the way through.
Yeah, leads tight ends in points scored at 126, averages 14 points a game. Second place, Darren Waller with 89. They're definitely rolling along, and no surprise there. Well, maybe a surprise to Mikey, but with George Kittle hurt, we can't really blame him too much for that. Mikey, do you have another one?
Yeah, I want to give some love to a guy that kind of fell in the draft in our fantasy draft, and with good reason. I think with the LA Chargers, with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, a lot of people were down on Keenan Allen, and the boy with the switch to Herbert and what it's done for him and for Kevin's team. I mean, the last 3 weeks, 16 points, 18 points, and then on this past Sunday, another 20 points. It's the Raiders for Keenan Allen. So, I mean, he's looking like he had looked before in previous seasons, and I think even better with Herbert at the quarterback. So, just been awesome.
Yeah, Herbert looks like the real deal.
Keenan Allen, 6th in points in our scoring system, 62 receptions on 86 targets, putting up decent touchdown totals. That's something that's kind of plagued him in the past. He's not used to putting up big touchdown totals. So that's pretty cool to see. One last one that I'll throw up, and I hate giving love to Aaron Steve, but man, Todd Gurley just again. I mean, it's 13 points. It's consistent. It's not 20 or 30. So in 7-9 games, he's had double-digit points. While the rushing yards aren't great and his yards per carry aren't great, he's got 9 touchdowns. That's a touchdown per game. He only has 100-yard game all season, but as I mentioned even early in the season or in the preview editions, that he's a touchdown scoring machine and he continues it. And that leads us to some MHA trivia.
All right, Brain. You don't like me and I don't like you. But let's just do this and I can get back to killing you with beer. It's a deal.
All right, guys. So this is not MHA trivia, but I'm going to ask you this question. I want you guys to guess. I happen to be looking at my team. James Conner, Kenyon Drake. Not good seasons, right?
No.
In terms of rushing yards, where do you think they fit or where they sit in our league? All season long, where do you think they sit in rushing yards?
Ooh.
And they're pretty close together, so I'll tell you, you don't have to be like, well, one's 8th and one's 12th or one's 20th and one's 25th. They're really close. But I was just wondering, what do you guys think? Where do you think they sit?
Top 20.
Okay.
I think they're higher than that. Like I feel like top 20. That's a big base. I mean, Todd will probably be right no matter what. But I'll say
I'm guessing Mikey's or Todd's going 19, 18, 20. 18, 19, 20.
There you go.
I'm gonna say closer to like 9, 10, 11.
And why do you think that?
Well, because
Considering how bad they've been.
like,
You see me struggle with these guys all year.
well, I feel like they both have the same issue. So I feel like they both run for decent yardage, but Kyler Murray steals touchdowns, running the ball. And the Steelers keep handing it off to Snell or McFarland or whoever else when they get down there. So from a points perspective, I don't feel like
This
they're
is
getting.
strictly yards. This is
Yeah.
strictly rushing yards. Yeah.
Yeah, this is strictly rushing yards, and I feel like they've been okay as far as that goes, but they've sucked as far as receptions and touchdowns. So yeah,
Sure. For my thought was that when I looked at my team and where they ran, I didn't think they were having that great of seasons in terms of rushing yards. And so, and I was like, and I went to look, and Mikey was right. They're 10th and 11th, and where they sit. And I just don't think that's great, though, based on what I've seen from him. I mean, James Conner this past weekend had 22 rush yards, and he's still ranked 10th in rushing, which just goes to show that the rushing leaders of the rushing world, maybe per se, is just not having a great year in terms of rushing yards. So the MHA trivia is, who are the top 5 rushers in the NFL? And so Mikey, having lost last time, he gets to go first. try to upend Todd. So whoever gets the most points wins MHA trivia. So the top 5 guys in rushing yards. Mikey, go first.
Well, and I can't see Todd, so how do I know he's not cheap? I'm just kidding.
Well, we're hoping everybody plays fair.
Well, I know number 1 is Dalvin Cook.
Very good. Ching ching. Dalvin Cook, 858 yards. Incredible. Todd, your guess.
Derrick Henry.
Very good. Second place, 843 yards. Now there's a big drop after that. Mikey?
Let's see. I'm going to say Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Very good. He is 4th overall at 586. Todd, to you, you are missing 3 and 5 so far. Cook, Henry, and Edwards-Helaire.
Kamara.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's incorrect. And if you actually look at Kamara, he is 13th in rushing. So back to Mikey. Mikey can win it. He can guess this correctly.
I'll say Josh Jacobs.
That is correct. He's number 3 at 588. Todd will just, if you can guess the next one, it'll just be brownie points for you.
Okay. Jacobs. Zeke.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Not a terrible guess. He is 7th. Mikey, I'll give you one last shot to get them all outside of Henry.
Given the fact that he's hurt, I think I'm going to probably be wrong, but I'm going to say Aaron Jones.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect because I think he also had a bye week on top of that. So, but the answer is Todd Gurley. How about that? Go figure that. 584 yards. So a lot of just kind of middling performances here and there. It seems like more if you play, you're playing all the games, then you have a good shot of being up there. But you have Cook and you have Henry, who are having spectacular seasons. But after that, it's kind of 588 yards, 586 yards, 584 yards. Nothing really standing out. But the pass catchers, a lot of points, a lot of yards going on there. So that was just kind of the point of that trivia.
Well, and most of those, and that's kind of how I guess they're going to come from teams that are winning, and they're going to be able to run the ball in the second half. That's how they're going to get those yards.
Oh, really?
So,
James Conner, huh? Playing for the undefeated Steelers.
Hey,
Screw that guy.
They use their other 2.
Well, what I've noticed in the last couple of games from Pittsburgh is that when they seem to be more effective in a 4-wide, 5-wide situation. For whatever reason, just the last 2 games, and that's I mean, they were losing in that Dallas game, and they seem to be more effective. And I don't know if that's just because James Conner is not good or has games. I mean, I was listening to something the other podcast, and they were talking about that. They think he did something wrong because he sat for a lot of that game. But who knows what that is, but it's a pain in the butt, whatever it is. All right. So we talked about the best performers. Let's talk about some worst performers. Mikey, you can go first this time.
Yeah, Mo, that team sure did suck last night. They just plain sucked. I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
I want to pick on Tom Brady. This is just how bad he was.
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. That name just sounds like a loser. But yes, not a good day.
Yeah, I mean, Todd really could have picked any other quarterback in the league other than Kyle Allen, and he got hurt early, so he doesn't really count. But any other one, yeah, every other quarterback scored more points than Tom Brady this week. Every single one. How does that feel, Todd?
I don't feel good, but again, this is more for reality purposes, and it could, and obviously could translate over into the fantasy world. But Tom Brady's gonna be a little pissed off, so he might throw 5 or 6 touchdowns next week. So, just something for the mindset. He didn't get one single touchdown, so he's probably tearing into every single teammate. He's like, listen, we gotta figure this out. So he might throw 5, 6 touchdowns next week. So if anything, I'll base it on that. But yeah, I know this on Sunday night, yeah, straight, just gross and just ugh.
Too bad. Too bad,
Too bad indeed.
but not sad. Todd, give me a worst performer from week 9.
I'll go with one that you guys kind of gave me a little grief when I didn't trade for him, but Justin Jefferson, not doing very well. He was a top 10 in points in our league, and last 2 weeks just 3. I think last week put up 3 points, and this week only a 6. So that's for a wide receiver, it looks like he's going to be the future, but right now he's kind of hitting that rookie wall a little bit because that 31, performance, thinking, oh, this, he's gonna, break out, but he not so much. So I'll go with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really affect bye week that much. He still ended up winning. But again, it's just more Dalvin Cook. You could say Adam Thielen, who's had 2 bad weeks in a row, but that's just because Dalvin Cook train is rolling.
Yeah.
Until that stops, I think the wide receivers are going to suffer a little bit.
Yeah. I agree with you there. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. One guy that I had was David Moore, who from Carolina, who's kind of the odd man out in the plethora of weapons that they have over there. You got McCaffrey, who's now back, well, momentarily. Robbie Anderson has been producing good target numbers. Curtis Samuel continues to do both the rushing and the passing, or the rushing and catching thing. And so he just ends up being kind of the last guy. He's got 2 points or he had 2 points and 3 targets, just 6 total points in the last 2 weeks. He definitely can boom for you. He's had 3 weeks of 14 or more, but consistency continues to be his problem. And so David Moore, who a lot of fantasy experts were high on coming into the season, probably not kind of busting out. But I mean, I think it's just Robbie Anderson stepping up, and then you see what they're using with Curtis Samuel in kind of weird hybrid mode. And fortunately for Kilgore Trout, that just hasn't panned out for him. Mikey, do you have another worst performer?
Yeah, and by the way, it's DJ, not Dave.
Oh, that's my fault. DJ Moore. That's right. It's Dave Moore, the Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, he's the Seahawks. And just to
right, my bad. DJ Moore.
DJ Moore, what's so disappointing with him is both those matchups the last 2 weeks, the 2 points and the 4 points, it was against Kansas City and Atlanta. He should have probably had really good games against 2 of those teams, both high scoring defenses that are not great. Yeah. I mean, he was one of the leaders in targets last year, and now he's only getting like 4 or 5 a game. So you're right on the button on that one. All right. So, another disappointing guy, and Aaron won, but DeAndre Hopkins was not good this week at all. And, they used Xavier Howard in Miami to kind of cover him one-on-one. He did an excellent job. DeAndre Hopkins only had 4 points, and it led to Christian Kirk kind of going off, which really helped you in return. So, yeah, 4 points. That was easily the worst game of the season so far for Hopkins. But Aaron survived it thanks to Devontae Adams going off again. So,
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, I know we kind of watched this game together, but there were some pass interferences too on Hopkins that if there would have been catches instead of pass interferences, it would have helped his numbers a little bit. But you're right. It seems like Christian Kirk is really kind of coming into his own. He's had 3 weeks or more of double-digit point totals, and it looks like that he's building some sort of rapport with Kyler Murray. So I'm not super concerned if I'm the Hopkins owner, but Kirk has been coming along, and there's only so many points to go around. I mean, they are the highest scoring team in the NFL, so take that for what it's worth. Todd, did you have another worst performer?
I'll go with Jared Cook, the Saints. Only 1 point, especially in that game where it seemed like touchdowns were going to every other wide receiver except Jared Cook. I mean, obviously Michael Thomas got a few points, but Jared Cook, you think, attached to Drew Brees, should be able to get some. Get a lot of catches and points, but only 1 point from him. So, but again, I feel it's pain on tight ends from week to week. So that seems par for the course. Excuse me.
Well, if anybody knows about tight ends, it's Mikey. I saw him researching tight ends like a mother that Saturday before. But for Jared Cook, had 3 straight weeks of double-digit point totals and has scored a touchdown in all 3 of those. But again, that's what happens when you have low targets on a weekly basis. Sometimes you're going to catch, and sometimes you're not. And didn't get one this past weekend. I'll throw in one more. I mean, Derrick Henry didn't have a great week. I mean, it was a tough opponent, and Chicago's pretty awesome defense. But usually the best players, and I would figure he's one of them. Obviously, as we were talking about his top rushing yard performance, usually those guys are matchup proof. But the problem with Derrick Henry is that if he's not rushing the ball well, he's not catching any balls to kind of make up points. Now, I mean, Derrick Henry's one of the best running backs in terms of point total, so I don't want to diss on him too much. It was just a bad week. But, I mean, that's the problem with owning Derrick Henry. He's not going to kind of recoup some of the bad day, which is a couple catches here and there. I mean, it was his first bad week since week 2, and then he had 8 points in that week. So just a bad week for Derrick Henry. I'm not too worried about him going forward. All right, so moving on. Who wins Doe of the Week?
It easily goes to NWA for me.
Yeah.
Easily goes NWA for me.
Go ahead, spell it out for us, Mikey.
Well, he decided to play Herbert, and this is kind of 2 weeks in a row because last week it was Derek Carr. This week it's Herbert, and he left Kyler Murray sitting on his bench, which was the difference between him, winning a game that may come back to bite him later on, and losing to the team that's currently in last place. So it's not a great decision there on his part. And the other thing is that he had picked up Jacoby Myers, which was a really good pickup. He had 20 points, but he didn't play him, and he went with Cole Beasley instead, and he only got him 4 points. And I guess he was so mad he decided to release him already. So,
well,
there you go.
That though, I mean, Josh Allen had a great matchup, and he 72 points. It just unfortunately went to a lot of it to the tight ends and not to Cole Beasley. So I'm not going to jump on him too bad because of that. But yeah, I mean, Kyler Murray, who is, I think, 4th in our scoring system, MVP candidate, good matchup. Yeah, I'm not sure why I started him over Justin Herbert, especially against his favorite team. Played him against his favorite team.
Yeah, I mean, this is where the hard part I have, kind of hammering it on too hard. I mean, you look at Herbert's last 4 games, 54 points, 70 points, 56 points, 55. So, like, he's been putting up massive numbers. So, like, I understand it, but like, Kyler Murray is like the quarterback he took QB1. So, sometimes he's going to have those blow up spots, and Herbert's like a luxury, I guess, for him.
Yeah. Herbert, 9 less points, and NWA lost by 4. So there you go. Sorry, NWA. Almost got it last week. You were salvaged thanks to T.Y. Hilton. And so this week, you couldn't escape. All right, guys. So as we head up to the last few minutes of the show, anything you want to talk about week 9 or something coming up this week? What's on your mind?
Well, I think we can agree in reality and in fantasy, Russell Wilson's probably going to win it all. I mean, Russell Wilson is just, I mean, first of all, points-wise, Jesus. There's only been 2 weeks where he scored under 50 points. One was 48 and one was 49. Jesus, it's like automatic for him. I think he's the league MVP in reality and fantasy MVP all the way around. And even if he has like 1 or 2 more bad games or something like that is not like 50 or higher, it's a wrap. I mean, that's not all I said. I don't want to give any more credit to freaking Aaron at this point, but it's. And the thing too is the Seahawks have to keep on playing too. See, a lot. This year is different in the fact that besides maybe the Steelers, but everybody's going to have to keep on playing. Maybe the top players are going to have to play into the fantasy playoffs. Usually, I know previous years you've had to like they usually said, well, they're going to sit, and so you have to go out. But this year, everybody might have their full arsenal. Whoever gets in the playoffs might have their full arsenal, going into the playoffs and even in the championship game. So that might be interesting because usually, like I said, in the past, I mean, these no-name players or have had to come in and win fantasy championships. So that's going to be interesting.
Mikey, anything? What's on your mind?
It's just like I said, a huge week. Like, I mean, you look at my opponent this week, NWA, he was 4-1. He was in first place, riding high, came on the podcast. We saw that smiling face. I was struggling 1-3. He kicked my butt. And now we face each other this week. And if I can beat him, we'll both be sitting at 5-5 and chasing the playoffs. Wow, things can change very quickly in this league.
The NFL season flies by, no less, too. I mean, we're heading into week 10, if you can believe that. So I don't know where to go from here. For someone like me, I got to play Belt Sanders, who doesn't have Patrick Mahomes, and a bunch of injured 49ers. So anything can happen, but I'm feeling a little confident heading into this week. Anything can happen. For sure. Upcoming schedule, and if you guys have anything else more to say, we can talk about it after the schedule. The upcoming schedule, no really primo matchups, at least in terms of the top teams facing one another. Maybe the best one is Eaton W's at 5-4 and taking on 6-3 Gonzo Cats, both looking to kind of move up in the playoff seeding there. A lot of the middle of the pack stuff for just trying to get into the playoffs, so that's exciting. 4-5, as Mikey mentioned himself, taking on NWA, who's 5-4. Tom Brady and the Reeling Butterfingers at 4-5 will battle 5-4 CUP. Lemonheads 4-5 taking on 3-6 Belt Sanders without Patrick Mahomes, which is awesome. And I think I'm missing one matchup because I didn't write it down.
Yeah, it's Cooper's Cousins, who's 7-2 taking on Kilgore Trout at 3-6, and then you got last place bye week at 2-7 taking on Aaron 6-3 Lion Rip.
Well, there you go. Like the top teams playing kind of the bottom of the standings. So they're looking to secure some top spots, and the middle of us are hoping for maybe upset. I don't know. Is the middle teams hoping for upsets at the top? Or are we hoping those top teams just go up there, secure them, and allows us to move up a little bit?
Have them lose.
Yeah.
You want the top teams to lose?
Yeah.
Bring them down.
I want you to lose too. So
I know you do. I know. I'm right above you, buddy. I understand. We're in this podcast. It's what are we, 7, 8, and 9?
Yeah.
Gosh, we suck. Oh. But we're right there. Right there.
Todd can win. He could beat CUP. That's okay. But not Eric. Eric needs to lose.
You better trade some parts to Mr. Belt Sanders then. No Patrick Mahomes. I escaped that craziness for sure.
Does he still have Emmanuel Sanders on his team, or did he drop?
He's a free agent.
Okay. Wow, that was like his 3rd round or 4th round pick, Emmanuel Sanders.
Well, there's a lot of guys, but he's got Patrick Mahomes on a bye, Calvin Ridley on a bye.
Wow, Ridley's hurt though.
He's still on a bye.
I know, but still.
That's not an incorrect statement, sir.
Sorry.
So, and his backup quarterback is Jimmy Garoppolo, who's obviously on the IR. I don't know if he's coming back this week. But you're playing New Orleans. You just held Tom Brady in check. Remember that, Todd?
Yeah, it's great.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Thank you. Like I said, it makes it for a good podcast. So if I can bring some laughs and some what the hell moments, then
we're laughing all right.
I know. Laughing
How'd you
at
finish the season with Tom Brady last year? Did you lose your last 8? Is that right?
Yes.
Tough. All right, folks. Well, that'll do it for another MHA podcast. Want to wish the owners the best of luck, most of them anyway, as we head into Week 10. For Todd Diamond, Mikey Renault, I'm Eric Lansing. We'll see you next time on the MHA podcast.